Evan Hale had learned long ago that space did not care about plans. His small repair craft drifted quietly along a forgotten trade route, lights dimmed to save power. Outside the cockpit window, broken hull plates and frozen debris floated like the bones of old giants. This sector had once been busy, but wars and shifting borders had turned it into a graveyard. Evan was here because no one else wanted the job. Salvage paid better when danger scared others away. He checked the console again. His own ship was stable for now, but a micro-fracture in the fuel line meant he could not jump until he fixed it. He had already used most of his spare parts. That was why he was scanning wrecks, hoping to find something usable. Then the console chimed softly. A distress signal. Evan frowned. Signals were rare here. Most ships that broke down in this region never sent one or no longer had power to do so. He adjusted the frequency, filtering out static. The signal was weak, uneven, and old. Alien code, not human. "Someone's having a worse day than me," he muttered. Protocol said he should mark the location and move on. Alien ships meant alien politics, and that usually meant trouble. But Evan had never been good at ignoring people in need, even if they were not human. He changed course. The ship came into view slowly, emerging from the shadow of a shattered cruiser. It was beautiful, even damaged. Its hull curved smoothly, grown rather than built, with faint lines of soft blue light running across it like veins. Large sections were dark, and a deep crack ran along one side where something had torn through the outer shell. Evan whistled quietly. "You're a long way from home." He matched speed and sent a basic greeting signal, translated into common galactic trade language. There was a pause, then a reply came back, hesitant and shaky. "Unidentified human vessel, do not approach. Assistance is not required." Evan smiled a little. That's usually what people say when they really need help. He sent another message, calmer this time. He explained who he was, that he was a freelance engineer and that he had detected their distress signal. He promised no weapons, no boarding without permission. The reply took longer this time. "You may dock. But understand this, if you cause harm, our people will not forgive you." "That makes two of us," Evan said, already maneuvering closer. The docking process was rough. The alien ship systems were unstable, and Evan had to compensate manually, hands moving fast over old controls. When the clamps finally locked, he let out a slow breath and grabbed his tool kit. The airlock hissed open. Inside, the ship felt warm, almost alive. The walls had a soft texture, not metal but something grown and reinforced. Dim lights pulsed slowly as if the vessel itself was breathing. Evan stepped forward carefully. He did not get far before he saw them. Two figures stood at the end of the corridor, identical in height and shape. They were slender, with smooth, pale skin that shimmered faintly under the lights. Their eyes were large and luminous, a deep silver blue. Thin markings ran along their temples and down their necks, glowing softly. Twin alien girls. They looked young, but Evan knew better than to judge alien age by appearance. What he could recognize clearly was fear. One of them held a small energy tool, hands shaking. The other stood half a step in front, protective despite the tremor in her own posture. "I'm Evan," he said gently, keeping his hands visible. "I'm here to help." They exchanged a quick glance, silent communication passing between them. "I am Lyra," the one in front said at last. Her voice was melodic but tight with tension. "This is my sister, Sela. Our ship is not compatible with human methods. You should leave." Evan nodded slowly. "Maybe, but your core is leaking energy and your outer hull fracture is spreading. If you jump like this, the ship won't survive." Sela's eyes widened slightly. "You can sense that." "I don't need to sense it," Evan replied. "I can hear it, your ship's crying." That surprised them, Evan could tell. He had spent years listening to machines, learning their sounds and rhythms. To him, the ship's low hum was uneven, strained. Lyra hesitated. "Our engineers failed, our people abandoned us. A human should not be able to do what they could not." Evan shrugged. I'm not better, I'm just stubborn. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Lyra lowered the tool. If you are lying, we will know. That's fair, Evan said. If I mess up, you can throw me out an airlock. That earned him a brief, startled blink from both twins. Not a smile, but close. They led him deeper into the ship. As they walked, Evan noticed how carefully they moved, like people afraid of waking something dangerous. The corridors showed signs of damage hidden beneath smooth surfaces. Emergency growth patches had sealed cracks, but poorly. They reached the engine chamber. Evan stopped and stared. The core was unlike anything he had seen. It was a large, floating structure, suspended by bands of energy, pulsing with soft light. Parts of it flickered weakly, and thin arcs of unstable power snapped outward, striking containment fields that barely held. This is bioreactive, Evan murmured. You're running a living core. Yes, Sella said. It responds to neural input and emotional stability. Damage causes stress. Stress worsens damage. Evan let out a slow breath. That's not ideal, Lyra's voice sharpened. Can you fix it or not? Evan set his tool kit down. I can't promise a perfect repair, but I can stop it from getting worse. He worked carefully, studying readings, mapping patterns. He did not try to override the alien systems. Instead, he built a simple external stabilizer, using parts from his own ship and scrap from nearby storage. He reinforced weak points, redistributed energy flow, and added manual dampeners. The twins watched closely. He does not use standard logic, Sella whispered. He should have failed already, Lyra replied softly. Minutes turned into hours. Evan barely noticed the time. Sweat formed on his brow as he adjusted settings by hand, trusting instinct more than data. When a feedback surge flared, he stepped in front of it without thinking, shielding the control node with his own body while he cut power. Lyra gasped. You could have been injured. Evan shrugged again. Couldn't let it fry the system. Gradually, the core's pulse evened out. The wild arcs faded. The low hum became steady. The ship felt calmer. Sella placed a hand against the wall, her eyes widened. It is resting. Evan sat back heavily, wiping his hands on his suit. Temporary fix, but it'll hold. For the first time since he boarded, the twins relaxed slightly. Why would you do this? Lyra asked quietly. Humans avoid our kind. They say our technology is dangerous. Evan considered that. Humans say a lot of things, mostly when they're scared. He checked his wrist console, then frowned. External sensors showed movement. He said, standing. We might have company. Pirate scouts emerged from behind nearby wreckage, small but armed. Their signals pinged the alien ship, testing defenses. They have found us, Sella whispered, fear flooding back. Evan moved fast. Where's your defensive control? Lyra pointed. They are not designed for combat. Neither am I, Evan said, but we'll manage. He rerouted auxiliary power, overclocked the shield emitters, and jury-rigged a sensor scramble. When the pirates fired probing shots, the shields held barely. Jump capability? Evan asked. Offline, Lyra said. Evan grimaced. Figures. The pirates moved closer. Evan triggered his last trick. A sudden burst of false readings that made the alien ship appear to break apart. The pirates hesitated, confused. In that moment, Evan dumped energy into the engines, just enough to push the ship into a slow drift behind a massive wreck. The pirates lost lock. Silence returned. Evan sagged against a console, breathing hard. The twins stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. You risked yourself for strangers, Sella said softly. Evan gave a tired smile. Guess I did. Lyra looked at the stabilized core, then at Evan. Our people said humans were weak, disposable. Evan met her gaze. We break easy, but we fix things, and we don't like leaving people behind. Outside, the stars drifted slowly. The ship was still broken. They were still stranded. But for the first time since their exile began, hope quietly returned. And neither twin realized yet how much this one human would change their fate. The calm did not last. Hours after the pirate scouts vanished, The alien ship drifted in silence, hidden behind the massive wreck of an old battle cruiser. Dim stars flickered through cracks in the ruined hull outside, and thin clouds of frozen gas moved slowly like ghosts. Inside the alien vessel, systems hummed at low power, careful not to draw attention. Evan sat on the deck near the engine chamber, back against the wall, tools spread around him. His hands were sore, his shoulders stiff, but his mind stayed sharp. He knew pirates rarely gave up after one failed probe. They circled, waited, watched. Lyra and Sella stood nearby, whispering to each other in their native tongue. Their voices were soft but urgent. Every few moments one of them glanced at Evan, then quickly looked away. Finally, Lyra stepped closer. "The ship will not survive another direct attack," she said. "Even with your repairs." Evan nodded. "Yeah, I was afraid of that." "Our jump drive was damaged during the betrayal," Sella added quietly. "It requires a specific biokey." "Ours was revoked when we were exiled." Evan frowned. "So even if I fix it, it won't activate." "Yes," Lyra said. "Our empire believes only approved bloodlines should travel freely. Exiles are meant to fade away." Evan felt something cold twist in his chest. He had seen cruel systems before, but hearing it spoken so calmly made it worse. "Well," he said after a moment, "that's a stupid rule." The twins exchanged a look. "You speak of our laws very freely," Lyra said. Evan smiled faintly. "I'm human." "We're very good at breaking bad rules." That earned him another almost smile from Sella. Evan stood and walked back toward the engine chamber. "If the jump drive won't listen to you, we'll make it listen to something else." Lyra's eyes widened. "That is not possible." "The ship is alive. It rejects foreign input." "Machines reject things all the time," Evan replied. "Doesn't mean they can't be convinced." He began opening access panels, carefully avoiding sensitive growth lines. Instead of forcing commands, he studied how signals flowed, how the ship responded to stress and calm. The more he watched, the more patterns he saw. The ship reacted less to authority and more to intent. "It's not loyalty-based," Evan murmured. "It's trust-based." "What does that mean?" Sella asked. "It means your ship doesn't care who you are," Evan said. "It cares what you're trying to do." He connected a human interface module to the core, not directly, but through a buffer he built himself. He programmed it to send slow, steady signals instead of sharp commands, reassurance instead of control. The core flickered. Lyra gasped softly. "It is listening." "Good," Evan said, "because I'm about to ask it for a big favor." Before he could continue, the ship shuddered. Alarms pulsed low and urgent. "External movement," Sella said, rushing to a console. "Multiple signatures." Evan leaned over her shoulder. "Pirates?" "No," Lyra said slowly. "Imperial patrol." That was worse. The patrol ships were larger, cleaner, and far more dangerous. Their weapons were precise, their scanners advanced. Pirates wanted profit. Imperial forces wanted control. "They are broadcasting," Sella said. Her voice tightened as she translated. "They demand we power down and prepare for retrieval." Evan straightened. "Retrieval." Lyra's jaw tightened. "They will take the ship. They will take us. We will be contained." "For what?" Evan asked. "For existing outside their design," Lyra replied flatly. Evan felt anger rise, sharp and clear. He had seen corporations do similar things, governments too. "Different species, same cruelty. How long until they find us?" he asked. "Minutes," Sella said. Evan made a decision. "Then we don't hide," he said. "We move." "The jump drive is unstable," Lyra said, "and without authorization." "It won't work the way they expect," Evan finished. "Which might be exactly what we need." He rushed back to the core, fingers flying. He rerouted power, reinforced the stabilizer he had built earlier, and integrated his interface deeper into the system. The ship trembled as energy levels rose. "This could tear the core apart," Sella warned. "Only if it panics," Evan said. "Help me keep it calm." Lyra hesitated. "How?" Evan looked at her. "You said it responds to emotional input. Talk to it, reassure it." Tell it we're leaving danger behind." The twins stared at him, then at the glowing core. Slowly, they stepped closer. They placed their hands on the containment field, closed their eyes, and began to speak softly in their language. Their voices were steady, gentle, full of care. The core's light softened, energy stabilized. Evan watched readings settle into alignment he had never seen before. "Okay," he whispered. "That's beautiful." Imperial scanners locked on. Warning pings echoed through the ship. Evan slammed the final control into place. "Jump on my mark." "But the coordinates," Lyra began. "Don't matter," Evan said. "Trust me." The Imperial ships opened fire, shields flared, cracking. "Now," Evan shouted. The jump was not smooth. Space twisted violently, colors stretching and folding. The ship screamed, not in pain but strain. Evan was thrown against a bulkhead, breath knocked from his lungs. He barely heard the twins cry out. Then suddenly silence. Stars reappeared, unfamiliar and distant. The ship drifted, engines cooling, systems flickering. They had escaped. Evan lay still for a moment, staring at the ceiling. "Everyone alive?" "Yes," Sela said, her voice shaking. "We are alive." Lyra looked at the displays. "We are far beyond known lanes, no patrols, no signals." Evan laughed weakly. "Told you." But the victory was short-lived. Alarms returned, deeper and more serious. "The jump drive is failing," Lyra said. "The core is exhausted." Evan pushed himself up, ignoring the pain in his side. "How long do we have?" "Hours," Sela said. "Maybe less." Evan exhaled slowly. "Okay. Then we do something bold." The twins looked at him. "We rebuild," Evan said. "Not repair, rebuild." "That would change the ship's identity," Lyra said. "It would no longer be recognized as one of our kind." Evan met her gaze. "Is that a bad thing?" Silence answered him. Lyra looked at the walls, the core, the systems that had once defined her people's pride. Then she looked at Evan. "Our people abandoned us," she said quietly. "Perhaps it is time the ship chose a new path." Sela nodded. "Together." Evan smiled, tired but determined. "Good. Because I have some very human ideas." Over the next hours, Evan worked like he never had before. He tore out rigid limitations, replaced them with adaptable systems. He merged human engineering with alien biotech, creating something messy, flexible, and strong. The twins assisted, learning human methods, questioning assumptions they had never challenged before. "You allow systems to fail safely," Sela observed. "Yep," Evan said. "Perfection is fragile, flexibility survives." As the rebuild continued, the ship changed. Its pulse shifted. Its structure adapted. It was no longer just an alien vessel. It was something new. When Evan finally stepped back, exhausted beyond words, the core glowed steady and strong. The ship lived. Lyra looked at him, eyes shining. "You have given us more than survival." Evan shrugged weakly. "Guess I'm good at fixing things." Outside, unknown stars watched in silence. And somewhere far away, an empire marked a human name it would soon regret underestimating. As if they were watching. Inside the vessel, the air felt different now. The walls no longer pulsed only with alien rhythms. There was a steadier pattern mixed in, something rough but reliable, human. Evan lay on the floor near the engine chamber. He had not planned to collapse. His body simply decided it was done. Lyra noticed first. She had been monitoring the core when she saw him sway, one hand reaching out as if the room had suddenly tilted. Before she could speak, Evan dropped to his knees and then to his side, tools clattering across the deck. "Evan!" she shouted. Sela rushed over with her. Evan's eyes were open but unfocused. His breathing was shallow, uneven. "I'm fine," he muttered, though his voice said otherwise. "You are not," Sela said firmly. They carefully moved him away from the core and onto a resting platform grown from the ship's structure. The ship responded to their urgency, forming soft supports beneath him. Lyra scanned him using a medical interface. Her markings glowed brighter as she focused. "He is severely exhausted," she said. "Dehydrated, muscle strain, neural overload." Sela looked down at Evan, troubled. He continued working even when his body was failing. Lyra was quiet for a moment. Humans are strange. Evan drifted in and out of awareness. He vaguely felt cool liquid touch his lips, heard gentle voices speaking in low tones. He tried to sit up once, but a firm, careful hand pressed him back down. "Don't," Sella said softly. "Rest." He gave up fighting it. When Evan finally woke properly, the lights were dim. The ship hummed in a slow, calm rhythm. For a moment he panicked, unsure where he was. Then memory returned. "Ship," he whispered. Stable came a soft tone from the system, translated into human audio by his interface. Evan smiled faintly. "Good." He turned his head. Lyra and Sella were sitting nearby, watching him closely. "You scared us," Lyra said. "Sorry," Evan replied. His throat was dry. "Did we finish?" "Yes," Sella said. "The core has accepted the changes. It recognizes your systems." "That's new," Evan murmured. Lyra studied him. "Why did you not stop when you were clearly failing?" Evan was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. "Because if I stopped, you wouldn't make it. Simple as that." "That makes no sense," Lyra said. "You owe us nothing." Evan looked at the ceiling. "Yeah, humans do stupid things like that." Sella tilted her head. "On your world, is this normal?" "Depends who you ask," Evan said. "Some people run away, some people help. I guess I'm just wired wrong." Lyra did not respond immediately. She watched him with a new expression, something thoughtful and heavy. After Evan recovered enough to stand, he insisted on checking the ship again. This time the twins stayed close, refusing to let him overwork himself. As systems stabilized, Evan noticed something odd. The ship responded faster to him. Commands went through with less resistance. Interfaces adjusted automatically to his preferences. The core's glow shifted subtly when he entered the chamber. "It's learning," Evan said quietly. "Yes," Sella agreed. "And not only from us." That should have worried him. Instead, Evan felt an unexpected warmth. But peace never lasted long. Long-range sensors suddenly spiked. Lyra stiffened. Multiple warp signatures, not pirates. Evan leaned over the console. His face hardened. "Imperial?" "Yes," Sella said, "but not patrols." The readings showed something larger, heavier. More deliberate. "Containment fleet," Lyra whispered. Evan's jaw tightened. "They really don't know when to quit." The ship was not ready for a direct fight. Its systems were new, untested. Evan knew that, so did the twins. "They tracked us through the jump distortion," Sella said. "They are adapting." Evan ran a hand through his hair. "Figures." A transmission came through, clean and cold. "Exiled units Lyra and Sella. Power down immediately. Surrender the vessel and the human, you will be processed." "The human," Evan repeated softly. "That's me." Lyra's eyes flashed. "You are not cargo." Evan looked at her. "You don't have to do this, if handing me over keeps you safe." "No," Sella said sharply. Lyra stepped forward. "Our people took everything from us. You gave us a future. We will not betray that." Evan felt something tighten in his chest. "All right," he said. "Then we play human." "What does that mean?" Sella asked. "It means," Evan said, fingers already moving, "we confuse the hell out of them." He fed false data into the ship's signature, making it appear unstable and barely holding together. At the same time, he buried real power levels beneath layers of noise. The containment fleet approached cautiously. "They are preparing disabling fields," Lyra said. "Good," Evan replied. "That means they're scared." The ship suddenly shuddered as a field brushed against its hull. Evan gritted his teeth. "Okay, that's closer than I like." Then, unexpectedly, the core reacted on its own. The ship shifted position not through engines but through a subtle bend in local space. It was not a jump, it was a slide. "What did it do?" Evan demanded. Sella stared at the readings. "It moved itself." Lyra's voice was filled with awe. "It chose." The containment ships faltered, their targeting disrupted. Evan laughed, half in shock. "You clever thing." But the fleet adapted quickly. Energy nets deployed, spreading wide. "We can't outrun them," Evan said. "Not yet." He made a hard decision. "We go toward the anomaly," he said. Lyra froze. That region destroys ships. Most ships, Evan corrected. But ours isn't most ships anymore. Sella hesitated. If the core panics, it won't, Evan said. It trusts us. The ship angled toward a swirling mass of distorted space, lightning-like arcs flashing within it. Imperial commanders shouted orders. The nets closed in. Now would be a great time, Evan muttered. The twins placed their hands on the core together. Evan did the same. Easy, he said softly. We're not running, we're choosing. The core flared, not violently but brightly. The ship surged forward. Space twisted again, but this time it flowed around them instead of tearing at them. The anomaly swallowed the ship. Imperial sensors went blind. Inside the distortion, Evan felt weightless. Memories flashed through his mind, stations he had left, contracts he had abandoned, empty bunks and silent nights. He realized something then. He had never truly belonged anywhere. The ship emerged from the anomaly into calm, empty space. Behind them, nothing followed. Silence. They had done it. Evan sank into a chair, shaking with delayed fear and relief. Lyra looked at him, her expression changed forever. You are no longer just a passenger. Sella nodded. The ship recognizes you as part of its core balance. Evan swallowed. So what does that make me? Lyra answered softly. Family. The word hit harder than any weapon. Outside, unknown stars burned quietly. Inside, 3 lives were now bound together by choice, not command. And far away, an empire began to understand that it had not chased prey. It had created something new. The quiet after the escape felt unreal. The ship moved through empty space, far beyond mapped territory. Stars drifted slowly, untouched by trade lanes or empire borders. Inside, the vessel felt calm, almost peaceful, as if it knew it had crossed a line and could not go back. Evan sat alone in the observation area, staring out into the dark. His body still felt heavy from exhaustion, but his mind refused to rest. The word Lyra had used echoed again and again. Family. He had never planned for that. Behind him, soft footsteps approached. He did not turn, he already knew who it was. You should rest, Lyra said gently. I will, Evan replied. In a minute. She stood beside him, looking at the stars. For a while neither spoke. The ship has changed, she said at last. It responds to us differently now. Evan nodded. Yeah, I noticed. It is no longer fully bound to our people's design, Lyra continued, nor fully human. That was kind of the idea, Evan said with a faint smile. Lyra studied him. You do not seem afraid. Evan thought about that. I am just not of this. Before Lyra could reply, the ship's sensors flared. Sella's voice came through the internal channel. We have incoming signals. Multiple. Evan stood immediately. Imperial. No, Sella said. Civilian, many ships. They hurried to the main control chamber. The displays filled with contacts, cargo vessels, independent traders, refugees, and small exploration ships. They were clustered near a large structure drifting ahead. Evan leaned closer. Is that a station? Yes, Lyra said slowly, but not one recognized by the Empire. As they drew nearer, the structure became clearer. It was massive, built from parts of many different ships patched together over time. Lights glowed unevenly along its surface. Life signs were everywhere. Freehold, Sella whispered. I have heard rumors. A place for those who refuse Empire control. Evan felt something stir inside him. A neutral haven. The station hailed them almost immediately. Unidentified vessel, welcome to Freehold. State your intent. Evan glanced at the twins. Lyra nodded once. This is Evan Hale, he said into the channel. Independent engineer. We're not looking for trouble. There was a pause, then. Any friend of Empire exiles is welcome here. Docking permission granted. As the ship approached, Evan noticed something strange. The station's scanners hesitated, clearly unsure how to classify them. They don't know what we are, he murmured. Sella's lips curved slightly. Neither does the Empire. The docking went smoothly. When the hatch opened, the smell of mixed atmospheres hit Evan: metal, recycled air, unfamiliar spices. The station was alive in a way he had not felt in years. People stared as they stepped out. Humans, aliens of many forms, all pausing to look at the strange ship and its crew. Whispers followed them. "That's the one that slipped the containment fleet. Is that a human?" Look at the ship's core glow. Evan resisted the urge to shrink back. Instead, he stood tall. A tall alien with scarred skin and mechanical eyes approached them. "I am Kareth, station coordinator," he said. "You caused quite a disturbance." Evan raised an eyebrow. "Good or bad?" Kareth let out a rough laugh. "Both. The Empire is furious, which usually means you did something right." Lyra stepped forward. "We seek temporary shelter and information." "You'll get both," Kareth said. "But know this, the Empire does not forgive." Evan met his gaze. "Neither do we." They were given a temporary berth and allowed access to the station's resources. For the first time in what felt like forever, Evan slept in a real bed. When he woke, alarms echoed faintly through the station. He was on his feet instantly. "What's happening?" he asked, pulling on his jacket. Sella's voice came through the comm. "Imperial fleet, large, they are surrounding Freehold." Evan's heart sank. "They tracked us." "They tracked the anomaly exit," Lyra said grimly, "and followed the trail here." The station shook as warning lights flashed. People ran through corridors, fear spreading fast. Kareth appeared on a screen. "They are demanding we surrender the twins and the human," he said. "If we refuse, they will classify Freehold as hostile." "That's everyone here," Evan said quietly. "Yes," Kareth agreed, "which is why some are considering giving you up." Evan clenched his fists. He had known this might happen. "I'll go," he said suddenly, "if handing me over keeps the station safe." "No," Lyra said sharply. Sella stepped closer to him. "You do not get to decide that alone." Evan looked at them, pain in his eyes. "I won't let thousands die because of me." Lyra placed a hand on his arm. "And we will not let you be erased." Kareth watched them for a long moment. "There may be another option." Evan looked up. "I'm listening." "The Empire expects us to be afraid," Kareth said. "To scatter or surrender, they do not expect resistance." Evan understood immediately. "You want to fight?" "Not directly," Kareth replied. "We buy time." "You finish what you started." Evan turned to the twins. "The ship," Sella nodded slowly. "It is ready, more than ready." Lyra's eyes shone with resolve. "It was built to survive, now it will protect." They returned to the ship as Imperial vessels tightened their formation around the station. Massive warships loomed, weapons charged. A transmission blasted across all channels. "Exiles Lyra and Sella, human Evan hail. Surrender now. This is your final warning." Evan stood at the center console, calm in a way that surprised even him. "Let us show them what happens when you underestimate humans," he said softly. The ship powered up, but instead of charging weapons, Evan did something unexpected. He opened a wideband channel. "This is Evan Hale," he said, his voice clear and steady. "To every ship here, the Empire calls you outlaws, failures, disposable, but you're still here, still flying, still choosing your own path." He paused, letting the words sink in. "They want you afraid. I say we show them something else." The station's ships hesitated. Then one freighter powered up its engines, then another, then dozens more. Lyra stared at the display. "They are aligning with us." "Humans are good at that," Evan said, "starting trouble." The Imperial fleet opened fire, disabling smaller ships with precision strikes. Evan's ship moved, not fast, purposeful. The core flared bright and steady. Systems aligned perfectly. The ship slid through space, bending trajectories, redirecting energy. Imperial targeting failed again and again. "What is that ship?" An Imperial commander shouted over open channels. Evan smiled grimly. "A problem." Using the ship's unique space warping ability, Evan created openings, small, precise distortions that allowed Freehold ships to slip through enemy lines. Each one escaped before the Empire could react. "Half the station fleet is clear," Sella reported. Imperial weapons turned fully on Evan's ship. The impact shook the hull. Alarms screamed. Lyra grabbed a console. Shields are holding, but barely. Evan didn't retreat. He advanced. "Why aren't you running?" Sella asked, fear and awe mixed in her voice. Evan's hands were steady. "Because someone has to stand." The ship pushed forward, forcing the Imperial flagship to divert power just to track it. That was enough. The last Freehold ships jumped away. Kareth's voice came through one final time. "You did it. Freehold is evacuating." Evan let out a slow breath. The Empire realized too late. Their prize was not fleeing, it was blocking them. Weapons fired again. The ship groaned, systems straining. Lyra placed her hand over Evan's. "We choose together," she said. He nodded. "Always," the core pulsed. Space bent. The ship vanished in a blinding flash, leaving the Imperial fleet firing into empty darkness. They had escaped again. But this time the Empire had lost more than targets. It had lost control. And the legend of a human who fixed a ship and refused to bow began to spread across the stars. After the chaos of the Imperial fleet and the narrow escape through Freehold, space felt almost peaceful. The ship hummed beneath Evan's hands, steady, familiar, alive. The twins stood near the core, their hands brushing its surface, listening to its pulse. It was slower now, gentle, as if the ship itself had finally exhaled. Evan leaned against a console, exhausted but alert. The adrenaline from the past hours had faded, leaving only tired satisfaction. He looked at the twins, Lyra and Sella, and saw the same mixture of relief, awe, and cautious hope that he felt himself. "You did it," Sella said softly, almost a whisper. "You saved us and the station." Evan shrugged, trying to look casual though his body screamed otherwise. "We did it together," he said. "Ship, you, me, team effort." Lyra's eyes studied him closely. "You risked everything, your body, your life, for strangers you barely knew." "That's what humans do sometimes," Evan said, smiling faintly. "We see a problem, we try to fix it. Simple." Sella tilted her head. "It is more than simple, it is remarkable." Evan chuckled softly, though it was tired. "Well, don't make a habit of it. I like staying alive." The twins shared a small, knowing glance. Lyra spoke first. "You are different from what our people described. Our people said humans are weak, disposable, and incapable of understanding complex life forms like us." Evan raised an eyebrow. "Yeah, I think your people might have been exaggerating a little." Lyra smiled faintly, but it was thoughtful, not playful. "You are not only capable, you are persistent, brave, and kind." Evan looked away, uncomfortable with the praise. "Kind," he repeated. "I just fix things." "Sometimes people," Sella stepped closer. "That is a rare trait among humans, and yet you used it to save us and the ship. You gave us choice." Evan swallowed. The words hit him harder than he expected. He had always thought he was just doing his job, surviving, helping where he could. But to be appreciated in this way by them, it felt different. For a long moment, the three of them just stood in silence, listening to the steady hum of the ship's core. Then unexpectedly Lyra spoke. "Now that we are safe, we must ask you something." Evan glanced at her. "Go ahead." Lyra and Sella stepped forward together. "Will you stay with us?" Lyra said. "Not just for now, but forever. Not as a visitor, not as a stranger, but as part of this life. Our crew, our family, our journey." Evan froze. The words hung in the air, heavier than any starship hull. He had never been asked anything like that. He had never been wanted, not like this, not in a way that mattered. He looked at the twins, their silver blue eyes bright and steady. Their hands hovered near the core as if waiting for his answer to ripple through it. Evan started. Then he paused. He thought of the countless empty stations, the cold nights alone in the dark corridors of ships, the fleeting contracts that paid bills but never gave him a home. He thought of all the times he had fixed other people's ships, other people's lives, never realizing that he himself might belong somewhere with someone. His eyes softened. "Yes," he said finally. "I'll stay. Not because I have to, but because I want to, I choose to. Lyra's expression softened, almost glowing with relief. Sella smiled faintly, a light that brightened the chamber more than the ship's core ever could. Together, they reached out and Evan placed his hands over theirs. For a moment, nothing else mattered but the warmth and trust that passed between them. The ship seemed to sense it too. The core pulsed brighter, a steady rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. Evan could feel it, not just with his hands but in his chest. The ship had accepted him, the twins had accepted him, and for the first time he felt truly at home. Over the next days, they worked together to restore the ship fully, integrating Evan's human designs with the alien systems. He taught the twins new ways to think about engineering, creative shortcuts, emergency protocols, redundancy designs that even their people had overlooked. The ship responded with efficiency and grace, proving to them that a human mind could blend seamlessly with alien technology. During this time, they explored nearby sectors, mapping safe routes, finding resources, and helping other exiles and stranded travelers. Each success reinforced the bond between them. Evan saw the twins not just as companions, but as partners. They, in turn, saw his bravery, his quick thinking, and the depth of his heart. One evening, as they floated near a small, uncharted planet, Evan stood at the observation deck with Lyra and Sella beside him. The planet below shimmered in blues and greens, its atmosphere swirling with clouds and winds that carried the faint smell of unknown flora. The three of them watched in silence. "You know," Evan said finally, "I never thought I'd see a place like this. Not from the outside, at least. Space is usually empty, cold, dangerous, but this feels alive." Lyra rested a hand on his shoulder. "Life is alive because we choose it to be," she said softly. "Not because it is given, but because we protect it, nurture it, and fight for it," Sella added, "and sometimes it is strengthened by unexpected allies." Evan smiled faintly. "I guess that would be me, huh?" "Yes," they said together. "You are part of us now." He looked out at the planet, at the stars, at the unknown stretches of space ahead. For the first time, he felt not like a visitor, not like a stranger drifting from one temporary job to another, but like someone who had purpose, someone who mattered, someone who belonged. Days turned into weeks. The ship became faster, smarter, more capable than before. Evan and the twins explored sectors that no empire had claimed, discovering uninhabited worlds, ancient relics, and other outcasts who sought refuge. Evan's human ingenuity combined with the twins' alien intuition created a perfect balance. They solved problems together, built safe harbors, and even deterred minor threats without violence, using clever tricks, rapid thinking, and the ship itself as a shield. The twins began to teach Evan more about their species, culture, their history, and their lost home. In return, Evan shared human stories, simple things, tales of Earth, of ingenuity, and of resilience. They laughed, debated, and argued in good humor. Through these small exchanges, bonds deepened. Trust became unbreakable. One day, while navigating near a dense asteroid belt, the ship detected a faint distress signal. Without hesitation, Evan and the twins adjusted course. They found a small transport ship damaged and drifting, its crew frightened but alive. Evan smiled as he worked with them to stabilize the vessel, reroute power, and guide it to safety. Lyra and Sella watched him, their eyes full of pride. "You fix everything," Sella said quietly later when they were alone. "I try," Evan replied. "Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I never stop." "You never stop," Lyra repeated. "That is why you are remarkable." Evan felt a warmth in his chest. He had never been described this way, never been seen so clearly. Not by anyone. Night cycles passed. They explored nebulae, star clusters, and abandoned stations, leaving trails of hope behind them. The Empire still searched, still attempted to reclaim what they had lost, but Evan and the twins had become elusive, unpredictable, and strong together. Their bond, human and alien, proved stronger than any fleet or law. One evening, the three of them sat in the observation deck again, watching a binary star system rotate in perfect harmony. Lyra leaned her head on Evan's shoulder, Sella's hand found his own, and the ship's core pulsed steadily beneath them. "You know," Evan said softly, "I never thought I'd ask a ship for anything, but now I think I've finally found my place." Lyra lifted her gaze to him. "You are home," Sella smiled, "and we are yours." Evan looked at the stars, then at the twins, then back at the ship. The vessel had carried them through danger, defied impossible odds, and now, with three hearts aboard it, it felt alive in a new way. Not just alive, but thriving. "I stay," he said again, this time firmly, with certainty. "I'll stay as long as we fly together. I'll stay as long as this life exists." The twins smiled, their hands still intertwined with his. The ship pulsed once, strong and vibrant, as if approving. They set course for the uncharted depths of space, not as fugitives or exiles, but as explorers, guardians, and family. Every jump, every challenge, every unknown world was theirs to face together. And through it all, the human and the twin aliens discovered that strength was not only in machines or weapons, but in trust, loyalty, and the courage to choose one another. As the stars stretched past them in brilliant streaks of light, Evan realized something he had never known before. He was not just a repairman, not just a wanderer. He was part of something greater, something alive, complex, and beautiful, something worth staying for. And in that moment, with the twins beside him and the ship thrumming beneath their feet, Evan Hale understood clearly that he had finally found his home, and he would never leave it. The ship glided forward, carrying three hearts into the vast unknown, ready to face any challenge, defy any enemy, and explore the stars together, forever.